Welcome back to another episode of FHS Season Tickets. I'm Michael.
And I'm Nick. And today we're going to be talking about the Fairview sports topics. The girls soccer team had their senior night against Wellington, which they won 3-2. Goals scored by mostly seniors. I forget, there might have been one junior sprinkled in there.
No, there was a freshman sprinkled in there.
Was there a freshman?
Alexis Vale.
That's unusual. Hey, a freshman actually
scoring.
showing out. That's crazy.
I know, it's kind of rare, but yeah.
Especially on a senior night. But anyways, the boys won 5-0 against Wellington. Pretty easy victory.
About the soccer game too, Elian Bendo with 3 more goals. He's absolutely tearing it up
what
this
is that,
season.
18 now?
It's, I think, 17. Just
That's
absolutely insane from Bendo. But the girls volleyball team took on Wellington, and they got the victory, improving to 2-1 this week after a loss to Oberlin and a victory to Brooklyn.
Now we're going to go into cross country. They're running Black River on Saturday, expecting big things. Girls and guys have been doing really well this season, as you guys have seen. We interviewed both of them, both the Connor, then we interviewed Paul and Ellie together. So great to check that out. But they've just been doing super well this season, tearing up the course.
Yeah, and also the football team takes on Keystone on Friday night at Keystone. Hopefully, they're going to get the first win of the season for the football team. Now we're going into our college football picks for all of the big games in Saturday in college football. And we start off the first game, an SEC battle, Georgia versus Ole Miss. I'm actually going to go with Ole Miss on this one. I wasn't too sold on Georgia. They really struggled against Missouri last game. A crazy fan reaction after them beating Missouri. Just a really funny video. Guy punched his hand through a window, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Georgia versus Ole Miss. I'm going to go with Ole Miss. They have a really explosive offense. I think they have field day against the Georgia secondary, and also I think that Jacob Eason struggles against the talented Ole Miss defense. Nick, who do you have?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go Georgia on this one. I mean, I feel why you're picking Ole Miss. Super talented team. I just think coming off a loss, I just don't think they're going to be too hyped up after coming off a loss. All their energy was expended against Alabama. I believe in Georgia this year to an extent. Don't believe they're a playoff team, but I do believe in Nick Chubb. I do think that he'll be able to to have his way with that Ole Miss defense. And I think Jacob Eason will have a decent day. I think this is just one of those days where he's going to have a good game in his freshman season. And I'm just liking the coach now. Kirby Smart's really just settling in there at Georgia, and he's doing a fine job there at that job. Christian, what do you think?
I'm with Mike on this one. I got Ole Miss. I feel like Ole Miss left with a sour taste in their mouth after losing to it was a tight, but almost upset over Bama. That's all I gotta say.
Now we're gonna go into Florida State, Southern Florida, and against Southern Florida. This could be considered like a trap game, kinda. Florida, you wouldn't expect a number 2 coming off of last week, and I'm not sure what the ranking is now. What are they ranked?
Yeah, Florida State dropped into, I believe, 10th or
10th.
11th.
Okay, so yeah, you wouldn't expect top 15 team having trouble ever with this USF team, but they're actually on the rise. You would always expect somewhere in that location. They have a really good location. Recruiting hotbed in Florida. Really nice facilities I've seen. I like the coach too, but I'm just thinking that Florida State's going to out-talent them, really. They're going to be on the rise. USF could grow into one of those Georgia Tech schools, Boise State maybe, one of those schools, but I just don't think it's the day is now. Florida State's going to get the win. I am liking their win, USF's win over Syracuse. That's cool. But then the other 2 wins aren't impressive. I think Florida State's just going to shut them down early. Have to get that revenge after losing badly to Louisville. Have to show that they're a legitimate top 10 team in college football. So I think Florida State is definitely getting this win. It's going to be a good, solid win. Christian, what do you think about this game?
I got Florida. Florida's been not meeting up to anyone's expectations. They've been playing terrible. I think this is the game where they start getting the gears going. And yeah, that's just about it. They got a lot more talent than Southern Florida. Who do you got, Mike?
I'm going to take Florida State in this one to get the victory, but I do think I'm going to go with USF +6 to win against the spread. I've been impressed with USF so far this year. Got a big win over Northern Illinois and also Syracuse. None of their games have really been that close, and I think that USF's a team on the rise. I'm probably going to take USF +6 in the spread, but we predict the game straight up. Make sure you follow FHS Season Ticket on Twitter because I make all the betting predictions on Twitter, and I'm probably taking USF +6. I'll probably make about 10 to 15 bets on the college football games, and I really like this USF team. Like, I can't stress that enough, but I do think that Florida State is going to get the victory. Peplin, what's the next game we are previewing?
Next game we got is Michigan State versus Wisconsin. I got Michigan State. I feel like Michigan State's D-line is superb, and Wisconsin's got a backup running back in, which is only going to make things difficult for Wisconsin establishing the running game. And I feel like O'Connor, Michigan State's QB, has been playing very well, except for throwing 2 picks so far. Who do you got, Michael?
I'm going to take Michigan State as well. I really don't like Wisconsin that much. They had a really tough time against Georgia State. I think that Michigan State's going to dominate up front, and I think that Wisconsin, their quarterback struggles, not being able to move the ball consistently, is going to definitely hurt them in this game, and I think that Michigan State gets the victory. Nick, who do you have?
Yeah, I'm actually going to take Wisconsin here. I'm going to disagree with my co-host here. I really like Wisconsin. I definitely like that win against LSU. That was a win against one of the top 5 talent-wise teams in the nation, in my opinion. And I'm not sure the Georgia State. I mean, everyone's going to struggle. Really, there's a ton of teams that struggle second week. Or is that the third week? Third week. Yeah, third week. Okay, yeah. Ton of teams struggled third week after like a huge win back in week 1. Again, Michigan State against Notre Dame. I mean, I've said that my opinions about that game before. I just don't think that was a huge win based on how Notre Dame was playing, how just gashed with injuries Notre Dame has been. So I'm still looking for that Michigan State top win. And Wisconsin, being an SEC team, never hurts its case for being the winner against Michigan State. So Wisconsin again, I'm taking Wisconsin over Michigan State.
And now we're going into another SEC battle, and this one's going to be Florida versus Tennessee. Tennessee has lost to Florida 11 years in a row. I'm a Vandy fan, so I hate Tennessee, but I'm going to go with the Vols to get this one. Even though Josh Dobbs still can't throw the football, I think that Tennessee is just a much better overall team. Florida's offense just looks horrible, and now with a backup quarterback, it's going to be much harder for them to move the ball. Even though Tennessee does have Cam Sutton, who is hurt for this game, he's a fantastic cornerback, but I still think that Tennessee has enough overall talent. I think that Jalen Hurd and Alvin Kamara have huge games against the Gators defense. Nick, who do you have?
Yeah, I'm actually going to disagree with Michael again here, not surprised. I'm liking Florida. I mean, Tennessee never has had a great offense, and Florida has a fantastic defense. You don't need that much good of an offense even to combat Tennessee. Tennessee is just not really good ever, in my opinion. I mean, maybe their head coach, can get it rolling from Cincinnati. I like him a lot. But I'm just going to go with Florida here. Too dominant of a defense, even for this one game. Definitely can beat Tennessee, take care of business there.
Did you just say you really like Butch Jones?
Yeah, I do.
Can
I do like Butch Jones.
Does anybody else want to come on the show? Like, anybody else looking for a new co-host?
Butch Jones is good, Mike. I don't know what you have against him. Ohio, Cincinnati, Ryan Kelly's old job. Come on.
The dude cannot coach in the fourth quarter. I can make like a compilation of all the noob moves he's made.
That's the offensive coordinator's fault. That's
the head coach's fault.
No,
he forgets how to coach in the fourth quarter. He's a horrible coach.
I mean, I'm not as big of an SEC fan, so I mean, I'm not the expert Michael is, but Butch Jones, good recruiter. I mean, he can get it done.
Good recruiter. It's not that hard to win with all these 5 stars, and he still can't even win. Dude,
Mike's just salty because he gets 3 stars at Vanderbilt.
We do only get 3 stars.
If that, you're lucky.
Man, we're not talking about Vandy's recruiting glasses.
How does it feel? Maybe the only reason why you don't like Tennessee is because all you see is the people that you almost got.
We don't
playing
even
on their
almost
team.
get them, okay? We're not even close to them. Like, Tennessee is so talented. If they had, like, an actual good coach, I think they could
Dude, Butch Jones, stop.
Butch Jones is not an actual good coach.
All right, we're going to move on. We're going to hear what Christian hears against him. We're going to hear
I'm with Nick on this one.
Yeah.
But I think Florida State's defense is too talented. Their secondary, especially with Jalen Tabor, is just exceptional. I feel like this is going to be an ugly, grind-out game where, it's
low scoring.
This is going to be an ugly game. On to the next one.
Yeah, definitely low scoring. I feel like Florida has the advantage in that scenario. All right, now we're going to move on to Stanford UCLA. I actually have UCLA in this one. I'm not sure. I feel like Stanford. This is just one of those upsets. Like I have to pick a couple of upsets in college. I'd be a bad predictor if I went to who I think was actually a better team, because I just think that there are going to be upsets in college football always. Stanford. This is just going to be one of those games. They don't come out good. Christian McCaffrey is just not getting anything rolling. And just UCLA is just they're gonna get up for this one. It's their Pac-12 opponent. Stanford's been at the top, if not near top, if not the top Pac-12 team in so long. UCLA wants to get back there. Jim Mora, excellent coach in my opinion. I'm not sure about how Mike feels about him because I guess we have different opinions on head coaches here. But again, UCLA, super talented California area. I'm picking UCLA over Stanford. This is just gonna be a bad game for Stanford. Christian, what do you think about this game?
I got UCLA over Stanford too. I feel like UCLA hasn't been living up to expectations. I feel like this is where they come out.
Yeah.
And to just show everyone, I feel like Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
He comes out. He starts meeting up the expectations, boosts his draft stock, and that's all I got. What do you got, Mike?
I'm going to take Stanford. Jim Moore isn't a bad coach. He's solid. He's like a 7 out of 10, okay? He's a pretty solid recruiter, pretty solid in-game coach. So
who's your 10? Let me hear your 8s, 9s, and 10s. Just a couple examples from each.
So a couple of I'm going to go with Stanford. I really like Stanford against the spread as well. I think Christian McCaffrey has a huge game. UCLA has been battling some injuries on the defense, and I think that Stanford just outplays UCLA, and I think they're a better football team, much better coached, and I feel like this is kind of similar to the Michigan State versus Notre Dame game. You have a team in Notre Dame that's at home with a better quarterback, but you have a team like Stanford that's just like Michigan State, is very experienced, has a great head coach, and also is smart with the football. So I think that this time I've learned my lesson. I'm going with Stanford. Peplin.
I'm definitely looking for that Josh Rosen standout game, though. That's another thing Christian brought up. Yeah, Josh Rosen, I'm definitely looking for that statement game, really get himself rolling in the Heisman against a good team. That will be something to watch for sure.
All right, next game up, we got Texas A&M versus Arkansas. I like Arkansas. I think they're a really extremely talented team, but I do like Texas A&M more. I feel like their defense with just Myles Garrett is just he's a bad man. He just wreaks havoc in offenses backfields and just causes agony and pain for offensive coordinators. Who do you got, Mike?
I am going to go with Arkansas. I really like this matchup. Two teams that are playing super well right now. Texas A&M with a big win over UCLA. Arkansas with a big win over TCU. These are two teams that are playing well. Texas A&M usually fades towards the middle to the end of the season under Kevin Solomon, and I do think this is kind of the start of it. I really like this game. Should be super entertaining, but I am going to go with the Hogs in a very close one. Nick, who do you have?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Michael here. I'm going to go with the Arkansas. I like their team a lot. I also, going on Christian's point about Myles Garrett, I actually feel that defensive players have, like, individual defensive players in college football have not really been as effective anymore. Like, it's all about the team, how good talented your team is right now, how good talented your individual like defense or offense is. I don't really think that. I mean, maybe a couple of years ago with Jadeveon Clowney, he really affected the whole side of the defensive ball. I don't think Myles Garrett's going to be able to affect this game too much to the point where Arkansas, the better team with more momentum right now, in my opinion, is going to go. Again, you have to be worried about Texas A&M flopping on their face late in the late season like they usually do. And just again, I think this is going to be the start of it. Sumlin, just one of those coaches I just don't think is not hot right now. Maybe a really good recruiter, maybe good coach. I'm not really sure where he stands right now. That's again, Brett Bielema, I think he's maybe like a 7, 8 out of 10. I like those comparisons. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Hogs on this one. Arkansas is just the better team overall.
We'll have to see.
One thing about Kevin Solomon, he makes a lot of his quarterbacks transfer, which is kind of weird. But now we're going to go into our NFL picks. And now we're going to be previewing some of the NFL games. Christian, what's the first NFL game we're going to be previewing?
First game we got is Denver Broncos taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Trevor Simon, 2-0. I got the Denver Broncos because their defense is just elite, even though DeMarcus Ware just got hurt. They still got Von Miller, deep D-line. Who do you got, Mike?
I'm going to go with the Bengals. If you guys have watched Season 1 and Season 2 of the show, you guys know that I've been a huge supporter of the Cincinnati Bengals in the regular season. Let's make sure that's a key. And I think they get a victory over the Denver Broncos. It's very rare that the Bengals do lose when they have a better quarterback, and I think they have a better quarterback in this situation with Andy Dalton over Trevor Siemian. So I got the Bengals getting this one. Nick, who do you have?
Well, yeah, Mike, I remember you saying that you thought the Bengals would go to the Super Bowl with Seattle a couple years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago.
Last year I didn't trust them in the playoffs, so.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. I remember filming you that. But, yeah, I'm still, even though I doubted Michael then, I'm not going to doubt Michael now. Cincinnati's going to win this game. I just think Jeremy Hill's I'm looking for a big game from Jeremy Hill. He's on my fantasy team. He's also a beast running back if he ever decides to actually get going. AJ Green looking for another big game. Bad game last year. I don't know if that was Andy Dalton's fault, his fault. We have to see. He had a huge game week 1. Yeah, and then he just got locked up against the Steelers week 2. So looking for a big game against Denver. They just have a lot of weapons. Andy Dalton again is better than Trevor Siemian. I agree with Mike on that one. Cincinnati's defense is going to null and void that Denver offense, I feel like, and then Denver won't be able to hold Cincy. And good 2-0 start, but it's gonna come to an end against Cincinnati.
C.J. Anderson will have a big game. Mock my words.
That's a bold statement. C.J. Anderson was absolute garbage for me in fantasy last year.
Oh my God! I remember when you drafted him and you were hyped.
I was pretty hyped.
He's been having a pretty solid season.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns against the Panthers, more than he had in his first 8 games last year. Thanks, C.J. Anderson. But now we're going into the next game we are going to be previewing. That is the Vikings versus the Panthers. And I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. With Adrian Peterson being out and also Teddy Bridgewater, I think that's just too much for the Vikings to handle. Should be a pretty solid game. Vikings and Panthers have some great defenses, so should be a low-scoring, intense football game. Nick, who are you going with?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Super Bowl runners-up with the Carolina Panthers here. Yeah, I think Cam Newton's going to do some heroics like he did last year in the first game this year, even though they ended up taking the loss. But I'm just thinking that the Vikings are just going to get overwhelmed here. No Teddy Bridgewater, no AP. It's going to be a rough start.
They just lost left tackle, didn't they?
Really?
Yeah, Matt Khalil. Yeah. Peplin, who do you have in this one?
I'm with you guys. I got the Carolina Panthers. I feel like their defense is just going to overwhelm the Vikings' injury-prone offense. No Adrian Peterson. No Bridgewater.
It's going to be a rough game.
Lost their left tackle. I feel like it's going to be a rough game for them. I give props to their defense, though.
Yeah, definitely.
They'll only win because of their defense.
They're backpacking it for sure this year. This is going to be the whole entire year. They're going to backpack that. And then now we're going to go into our game, Steelers against Philadelphia. I'm looking for Steeler Nation to take this one. I just think, I touched on the fact that franchises or team success is dictated by how good your franchise is. I feel like in the NFL nowadays, how solid your ownership is, coaching, talent level. It's just all there for Steelers right now, and it has been the past couple decades. Steelers just going to take this one. I'm looking for a big game for Antonio Brown. Philadelphia doesn't have the greatest defense, and I'm just looking for a down game from Carson Wentz. He's been playing above what I expected him. I'm thinking that's going to take an end against Steelers. Then started the downward spiral for him. I'm hoping because, again, the Browns have their first-round pick, so I'm really hoping for a bad season from Philadelphia. What do you think, Mike?
I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. I think I am a little bit wrong about Carson Wentz. I thought he would be very bad. I didn't think Jared Goff would be that good, but I thought he'd be a little bit better.
Yeah, how's he even been doing?
Goff has not been playing. He's
really?
like the third-string quarterback. It's
really? No way.
Bad for Jared Goff.
They said it's because their O-line or something.
Yeah, and they don't want him to die.
Blame him.
I did not even know that.
Can't blame them.
So,
first-round pick,
first overall pick.
Or yeah,
not first round pick.
Yeah,
first overall. That's
crazy.
Horrible.
Can't blame him.
That was kind of like Eric Fisher back in the day. Do you remember?
Eric Fisher.
Whatever happened to
and
that?
The Chiefs made the playoffs that year. That's the craziest thing. They get the number one
They
overall
had
pick.
5 Pro Bowlers, just like the Cleveland Browns had 5
like,
Pro Bowlers, would we? But 3, whatever.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with the Steelers in this game. I think that they're not gonna cover Antonio Brown. They couldn't even cover Alshon Jeffrey. And if Jay Cutler stayed healthy, maybe that is a different result. And Carson Wentz has played
Cutler.
He got hurt, man. He's a solid. ESPN be like, I hate Jay Cutler. No, I hate Jay Cutler more than you. No, I hate Jay Cutler more than all you. We get it. You guys don't think Jay Cutler is that great. You don't need 25 people saying that Jay Cutler
This
is
is
the
also
worst
coming from a
quarterback in the
Vanderbilt
NFL.
fan, though, so there's some bias going along with that.
I didn't even watch him at Vanderbilt.
Hey,
I
he
wasn't
still
a
carries
fan
the
back
title.
then. Stephen A. Smith and Skip
Hey, maybe
Bayless.
we'll do a segment on them.
Absolutely ridiculous how much they just bash on Jay Cutler for no
Hey,
reason.
if you guys want to come on a show and debate, we're down for it.
Yeah, I'll tell you why Jay Cutler being the worst quarterback in the NFL. Very false from you guys. 500 record, exactly. I think that's pretty average, not the worst in history, but
Again,
I don't know.
Steelers, do you think Steelers getting that win?
I do think the Steelers are going to get the victory. Philadelphia's played 2 weak teams, and Pittsburgh got a great win over Cincinnati, so I am going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Peplin, who do you have?
I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is where the Philadelphia Eagles face their first
Yeah,
test.
first test.
You can't. I read on Bleacher Report they're being called Super Bowl contenders.
No,
They're
stop
playing
it. Stop it.
two.
I've heard that in school, too. I don't get that.
Two
What?
teams that you could just laugh at. The Browns defense just
It's trash.
Horrendous.
Bears.
Horrendous.
Mm-mm.
So
I mean,
maybe-
Carson Wentz has been
Oh my
impressing
gosh,
me.
Super Bowl?
Mhm.
Carson Wentz has been impressing me, but he needs to learn some things. He's still not sliding. He's still trying to just run people over. I feel like the Pittsburgh, especially with their linebacking corps, is just gonna overwhelm
Too much, yeah.
Philadelphia. And I feel like Antonio Brown is just gonna light them up. So is going Roethlisberger.
Yeah, you had a fantastic point about Wentz not sliding. He took a ton of big hits in the
Mhm.
Chicago game. But Christian, what's the final NFL game we are previewing?
We got the Kansas City Chiefs versus New York Jets.
Mm-hmm.
I got the New York Jets. I like their defense. Their defensive line is just loaded. We got Sheldon Richardson, Mo Wilkerson, Leonard Williams.
Yeah, Leonard Williams.
They got
dog.
Darrell Revis. He got burned last game. I
Bad.
feel like he'll come back, but
Yeah.
that wide receiver on Buffalo is gonna burn 80%.
A lot
80% of the
corners.
corners in the NFL.
No, it's the speedster. He was like an Olympic sprinter, and now he's an
Oh.
NFL receiver. Apparently, he's the fastest guy in the league, and he just
Yeah.
straight toasted.
Yeah, he
Darrell
You don't
Revis.
remember his name?
No, I do not remember his name.
And on offense, Matt Forte's questionable. I feel like if he's gonna play, hopefully he does play because he's on my fantasy team. He racked up points last game for me. Fitzpatrick, he's been fire, and Brandon Marshall is just, if he comes back, and Eric Decker, they're all questionable. I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
they all play. I got the Jets. Well, I got the Jets regardless.
Yeah.
So you believe in the New York Jets?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the New York Jets as well. I think playing on Thursday Night Football is always a positive for the next week, and they did play on Thursday Night Football and got a big victory over the Buffalo Bills. So I think they ride that momentum into this game against the Kansas City Chiefs. They're more rested than the Chiefs, and I think they get the victory. Nick, who do you have?
Yeah, I'm going to take out the broom here, take it out from the closet. It's going to be the Jets. There's no chance. The Jets, again, are looking super good, riding that momentum, as Mike said, riding the defense, like Christian said. Fitzpatrick playing like a serviceable quarterback. You see how it's developing with Trevor Simeon or Simon?
Simeon. Yeah, I
Simeon?
think.
Okay, yeah. You see how he's winning, going on a 2-0 start. Fitzpatrick's a better quarterback with him, with almost as good of a defense as Denver. They're just gonna get the win against Kansas City, and I do think that they're gonna be a playoff team this year. I'm not so sure about Kansas. We'll see. I like Kansas City though, but I mean they just have a lot of old players on the defense.
And Jamal Charles is out, which is going to make
Yeah,
it
that's
harder
gonna
for
be
them
really-
to establish their running game.
Yeah, running backs have been getting hurt so much so far
Yeah,
this
it's
year.
crazy.
But now, we're talking about the Cleveland Browns. And the
My
Cleveland
favorite
Browns,
time of the day.
they drafted a first-round wide receiver for the first time
Finally.
in about 200 years.
Did good.
Yeah,
Good.
And he scored 2 touchdowns, and then he broke his hand in
Yeah.
about 4 to 6 weeks.
Hey, good side. All the
You
young
can't get hurt again.
receivers on our roster will get a chance to show out all the people we draft.
Yeah, all the 7th-round picks that we got.
Rashard Higgins, we'll see how he does
Oh my gosh.
next weekend.
What's the other guy? Lewis? Something Lewis?
Ricardo Lewis, is that his
Yeah.
name?
Is it from Auburn?
Auburn. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Oh god.
Just some of the Browns.
Hey,
Higgins, I heard, is supposed to be decent. He's
tank.
got
We're
potential.
tanking this year for
I mean,
sure.
Yeah, I hope we tank. Please draft Watson,
Hey, Clipboard
Watson and
Jesus.
Kaiser.
Clipboard Jesus on the bench for quarterback. What is he, a practice
Stop.
squad player? Yeah. Yeah, he might get the start
Cody
soon.
Kessler starting.
Yeah.
He's been confirmed.
We'll see.
starter.
I mean, all the reporters were bashing him. ESPN was bashing that pick. We'll see how he does. I mean, I kind of like him. I don't know. I have to like him.
He's
at
what,
this
the
rate.
26th quarterback to start for the Cleveland Browns in
Like
since we
12
came
years.
back from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in like 18 years. So that's
Wow.
absolutely ridiculous. I want to say like the New England Patriots have had like
2. I
5
think it's 2.
and. No, but because they
they-
started Garoppolo and Brissett, so it was
Oh.
at like 2 or 3, and now it's at like 5.
Wow.
Some other teams, like the Green Bay Packers, have only started like 4 or 5 because of Favre and Rodgers, obviously, and the Browns starting like
And
26.
guess what? And guess what? Winning programs and a losing program. That just shows the importance of quarterbacking
Quarterbacks
in the
that
NFL.
stay healthy.
Quarterbacks stay healthy. Quarterbacks that are good. That's the importance. That's what we're going to end it with you guys on. It's been another good episode of Fhs Season Tickets.